Who is the strongest in the game? What do their stats look like? How about their fairies? I'm going to be looking over the top 3 CP characters on each server, taking a look at them and their PvP sets. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so I waited until top league matches and took these pictures of each region besides the one that we're going to look at for EU. It's just a weird time for me when their matches happen, so it's like right before their match, but we'll see there will be some differences. So starting up at the top, we'll start with SA, and I would like to start over here because GD1v9, he is a fellow content creator. I thought it'd be fun to start with his section. As you see, he is 9.5, about 9.6 million, with the other two being 7.8, almost 7.9, and 7.7. They're also his two good friends that he plays around with. And I find it funny, Nazarick, that's from Overlord. That's cool. But first, GV9. So how I'm doing this is the main page is going to be showing us HP, attack, and defense, as well as the Spirit Effusion levels of everything. And as we see right here, he has been focusing on first weapon, which is PvP damage increase, as well as the chest, which is PvP damage decrease, as well as Holy Fairy increase, and the helmet, which is boss damage decrease, doesn't really matter, as well as regular fairy level increase. This being at 7 means he can have up to 470. He's at 3.1 million HP, 720k attack, and all of his stats are pretty high. Looking over to the second page, we know he's a book and bow, so we're looking at a 30-40% boost of crit once he does all of his buffs. So once that happens, he's going to be closer to 260-270% crit rate, with once the buffs are included, 60-70% crit damage, and he has 222% crit immunity. All these are really high numbers. Block chance is decent. Break is actually kind of low for his stat line. Pierce is really high. Protection is high. Damage increase, damage reduction, both on point of what you would expect. He doesn't have the mid pieces yet, it looks like, for his inscriptions and orders. And on the third page, PvP down here, actually kind of low for PvP damage increase and decrease. And on the last page, his fairies. As you see, all of his holies are level 470. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of them at 470. All of them at Rainbow 3, minus Milim, who is at Red 4. He's probably going to be pulling a lot on the upcoming one, and he's going to jump probably up to 10 million once all is said and done. Next is number 2, Zed. He's actually a pretty low. He hasn't really spent on Spirit Effusions, as we see here. He actually only has the PvP damage increase and the PvE damage decrease. His HP is higher with Cannon Book. His attack is lower, actually a lot lower, but his defense is about the same. Crit rate pretty high. Crit damage is monstrous. Remember that he's going to get that boost from the book. He's going to go past 100% crit damage percent, but his crit immunity is kind of low. His break and block are pretty decent. Pierce is low. Damage increase is fine. Damage decrease is okay. HP steal rate at 20%. That means he has probably 2 pinks down here. And then when we look over here on his last page, he has a lot of PvP damage decrease, but very low PvP damage increase. Last but not least, he is doing 3 Earth, 1 Holy. It looks like he's on a PvE set. Either he did not show up to that match that day, or this is literally what he brings, which would be very interesting. Zed, let me know down below if you did or not. Jin, as we see here, only has the helmet, which is he has all of the PvP and PvE damage increases, and the red over here is elemental fairy level, which if we look over here, his base stats, really high HP, about the same as the other guy's attack, and about the same defense. Stats, crit rate, crit damage, and crit immunity, literally the same build as the other guy. Roughly the same stats across the board. A little bit less HP steal rate. He probably has 2 reds versus the 2 pinks. And over here, he has pretty low PvP damage increase and decrease, which is weird to see. Over here, Full Earth, which is a brawler type set with power damage increase, damage decrease. Make our way over to EU. This is the one that was a bit weird. So the one that's going to be confusing here is Kadar, another content creator. Go check him out. I'm getting reports that say he should be at 10.6 and Bree should be about 10.3. It looks like they hit their power around this point. So Bree, Kadar, and Asmodai are the ones we're going to be looking at. Bree right here he actually went pretty high on Spirit Infusions. 5 here, 7 over here. No, these are skills. And then over here, he went really high on the fairy level. That's 5 additional levels, 50 additional levels. HP, decent. Attack, high. Defense, kind of low. Crit rate is high, but no crit damage. But he's a kind of tanky build here with Sword Book. Really high crit immunity. Block and break are really on point, exactly what you want. Pierce is kind of low for his server, we'll see. Protection is fine. Increase, decrease, fine, 60%. Then on the next page, really high PvP damage decrease, which is what you want for his build. Then on his fairies, full holy, 450s, in the same boat as GD. Literally the same exact boat, still needs more Milim, and that's about it. Then we have Kadar. He has a monstrous HP pool. You'll see that's primarily because of the fairy set he's currently on. Attack is a little low. Defense is kind of high. You'll see he actually went really high on these right here. You'll see he primarily went on the greaves and gloves. Primarily, this is to increase your skill level, deepen and actual skill levels, which is really big for both book and bow, because that's going to give you additional crit, additional attack, additional stats on all your skills. It's a great combination. You'll see his chest is also really high, which is going to increase his holy fairy levels. Going over into here, kind of low crit and crit immunity. It's kind of hard to hide your crit damage because that's primarily on IOs and fake cards. But everything else, damage increase is pretty high. It's probably a lot higher, as we'll talk about. low PvP increase, high PvP decrease, and the joke, water echo. When, as we see down here, he has at least 6 maxed holy down here. So he's kind of hiding his stats, as we see. Last is going to be Asmodai over here. He's going for a very similar situation that Kadar did for similar reasons. HP about the same, attack high, defense. They're all looking at really decently similar stats. Also, book bow. A lot of people are saying that bow sucks, but we see two bow users in the top 3 over here. To do stats, no crit damage, which is a little confusing. That's fine. Damage increase, damage reduction, surprised they aren't a little bit higher. HP steal rate, I've recommended 10% on HP steal rate for bow, just because it will do a nice amount of healing when you go to do your skill. It's all obviously 10% to trigger, but multi-arrow is a single target, so you get that 40% of it back. I think he just wants that extra little bit, or the IO is just so good that he took the HP steal rate roll. Then we have PvP damage increase and decrease are pretty low, and he is full holy, and he's the first one we've seen with a Rainbow 1 Millum. Now over to NA, which is the highest CP, 11.6, 11, 11. Now one of these has quit the game, Valkyrie. They went to another game, but that game is not doing so hot, so they might be back. We'll see. Nanami over here. Look at that monstrous HP. Attack is the highest we've seen. Defense might be the highest we've seen by a little bit. Over here, went for maxed out everything. Currently working on boots, it looks like. Do increase, decrease, notable point out. Over here, 300% crit rate, 320% immunity, base 26 crit damage. This is on tank build, sword, book, block chance 260, break 230, block damage reduction 40. So what's going to happen here is block is base 50 or 60. They keep changing it on me, but base 50 plus 40, so they're reducing 90% of incoming damage. And then going to heal for 11.4% of that blocked amount. So they're going to do the Kirito thing where you're hitting them and they're literally healing the damage you're dealing to them. Especially right here with the 122% damage increase, 137% damage reduction, 67% HP steal rate. Over here, damage increase 60%, damage decrease 74%. Fairies, full holy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're ready for level 9 once it happens. Next is Valkyrie, the one that has quit. 4.1 HP, really high attack, decent defense. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the similar build that a lot of people are going for. Chest plus greaves and gloves. Pretty common. 300% crit, 260% crit immunity, 70% crit damage on cannon. So it's going to cannon book. So it's going to be 95% crit damage. Then we have break 200%, block 200%, damage increase 100, damage decrease 93. And then really, really low PvP damage increase and decrease. Fairies, full holy. Then war, which I believe he is still around. Similar thing here. It looks like he maxed out all three and now is working on sword. Bringing that up. 4.1 HP, 76 attack, 21 defense. It is sword book, so he has the 2 defensive treasures, 260 crit, 270 crit immunity, 240 block with no block damage reduction and no block recovery. Break 200%, pierce and protection kind of low, high damage reduction. Everything else is about what you would expect. Damage, PvP damage increase and low PvP damage decrease, but over here, lowish PvP increase and really high damage decrease. And he is on full holy as well, even on tank. Then over on SEA, Southeast Asia. So the S servers don't exist anymore, so it's just the N servers. N1 does not exist. All the server 1 is S. So the first N server is 250 or 240 something. Whatever the first one was is the one I went on. We have 9 million over here, 8 million, and 7.8. Satchel, I think I've seen them talk on my Discord as well. 3.2 HP. High attack. That's the... No, sorry. 780 would have been the highest. I saw the 8. Good attack, but not the highest. Really high defense. Over here, they went full out on the chest. The chest is almost done. And now they're working on the glove and the bow. Over here, 200% crit rate, 240% crit immunity, 20% crit damage, book, bow. This is going to be 55-60%. 150 block and break. Damage increase 150, damage decrease 120. Exactly what you want to see. But over here, PvP increase is really low. PvP decrease is pretty good. Over here, Earth. So either they did not show up that day for Top League, or they're just running Earth. Parfait, 3.3 HP, 5-1 attack, 17 defense, pretty low. Really low defense for a sword book player. And as we see here, they're actually, even though they're about 8 million power, they're kind of a low spender as far as Spirit Infusions is concerned. Chest and gloves are pretty low. Crit rate 130, crit immunity 170, break decent but no block recovery, no block damage reduction. Break is pretty high. Damage increase, damage reduction, about what you would expect. And then PvP increase kind of low, PvP decrease are doing fine. That's something I'm seeing. People are having a lot of damage increase, damage reduction, but not PvP increase, PvP decrease. Now, the reason why people are focusing a lot on the increase and decrease as opposed to the PvP is increase and decrease affects your fairies when you're doing PvP combat that includes fairies, whereas player damage increase or reduction is just from your skills, not including fairy summon effects. Full holy, most of them are on red. Then we have Dior, 3-3, 50, 22, book bow, Similar chest, but it went for both weapons instead of greaves and gloves. 200%, 200%, 70% crit damage. It's going to be over 100% with the buffs, block with block damage reduction, and pretty high block damage reduction and block damage recovery for a book bow is pretty wild. Damage increase, low damage reduction, 30% HP steal rate on book bow. That's wild. And then over here, PvP increase is high, PvP decrease is low, and we're on full fire. Last is going to be Eastern Europe, EE, 8.5, 8.1, 8.1. Miss Oz, 3 million HP, 6 million, 600k attack, really low defense. Lance book, this can kind of go either way, but it looks like they're going for a defensive. This is damage increase and this is protection rate, so I'm kind of confused. They have chest up, but instead of going for greaves, gloves, or lance, they're going for book, which is interesting. 200%, 200%, 40% damage increase. They're going for a crit lancer build. 100% block, 15% block damage reduction and block recovery, 120 break, 110 increase, 130 decrease, 50% HP steal rate. You only get 30% from, no, you actually get more, 45 if you go to the other page. So he has 5% from somewhere else. Really low PvP increase and decrease. And then full holy. Coco, 3 million, 58, 19. Lance book, the same. But just like we talked about, 8.1, but almost no red. Maxed out, almost maxed out book. 3 points into chest. 230, 270, really high. That's going to be 85-ish. Block and break. Damage increase 100, damage decrease 77, and the same HP steal rate. That means they're at 1, 2, 3 pages of 3 pages done of class advancement. 55 PvP increase, 71 decrease. They actually have the highest PvP stats that I've seen. Full fire with. So they didn't show up that day because they have the full holy down here, but they're using fire right here with this maxed out Olander. Bossman bow book, maxed out, well, close to maxed out book, then went into gloves. They're kind of all over the place here with the spirit infusions. 3 million, 52, 32. Then we go to the stats. 210%, 214. No crit damage percent on book bow is wild. Low block, okay break, pierce, high protection, damage increase, damage decrease are low. PvP increase and decrease are low. But we're on Earth. So that's it for the stats we've seen, guys. The highest CP across all servers is an A. And this is caveat. This is the oldest servers on all regions. There are other ones that have reportedly higher CPs. For example, over here on EU, there is a later server. I don't know the number. I think it's in the 60s or something. I have someone on my Discord who is almost 11 million, whereas these guys are 10.3 or 10.6. So unless they're hiding even more CP. So these are not necessarily the biggest CPs across, but I'm not looking over 200 plus servers to get these numbers. I thought this would be interesting. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.